Hi, friends. Happy Monday. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Angela with Wild Violets Art. And tonight I'm going to show you some really easy Father's Day or even masculine birthday cards. And I think that they are really beautiful. And we are combining the Beautiful Gallery DSP and the Paper Pumpkin Mountain Majesties stamp set. I have used up all of my kit. I had a scrapbook page for the Paper Pumpkin Creatives, which I'll be sharing on my website here shortly, just sneak peeks. And then, but I needed them for Father's Day and some birthdays, so they're gone. I just whipped through them. I thought for sure that I wouldn't need a second kit, and come to find out I do. I'm happy to say that the refills are still available, so you're able to go online and purchase the refill. The sad part is the refill does not include the stamp set. So, okay, so real quick, before I get to the projects, I just wanted to show you there is a sale for all sweets and sweet products starting yesterday. And so if you take a look, there's just tons and tons of sweets online. Now, if you go through the catalog, you'll notice that there's only so many sweets. And it starts on page 39 and it goes until page 64, I believe, or 64. So actually 63. So that there's only like 5 sweets that are shown in the catalog. But if you go online and you say, I want to shop by sweets, you'll find so many different ones. So this is 4 of them. There's Floral Impressions, Celebratory Sips, Florals in Bloom, Turtly Cute, Beautiful Gallery, Kitsugi Inspirations, Boho Vibes, Lovely Garden, Botanical Textures, On the Go, Mixed Media Florals, Floral Delight, Everyday Skies, Wildflower Birthday, Storybook Moments, Beautiful Bokeh, Marbled Elegance, and Utterly Adorable, Country Woods, Unbounded Beauty, Thoughtful Journey, Full of Life, and Mediterranean Blooms. Now remember, any of the online ones, they are only going to be as supplies last. So if they start running out, you're going to find that there isn't going to be anything available. And some of them are already on their last chance. So just make sure that you take a look and go to sweet products and then go drill down to whichever sweet you want. And 50% off the second one. So you buy one and you get 50% off. So that means anything that's included in the suite, if you're wanting just the DSP or the embellishments or the ribbon or just the paper, or you want the suite bundle, whatever it is that you're wanting, you buy one and then you get 50% off when it's equal or lesser value. So lots and lots of choices. And let me just count how many there are here. So 9, 14, 19, 23, 27 sweets to choose from. That's amazing. Okay, so now to our projects. I just wanted to show you real quick. This is what one of the cards looks like from the Mountain Majesties May Paper Pumpkin. And I just want you to see, this is vellum, and it adds all these 3D layers to this beautiful card. So you've got tons of 3D elements. You've got the mountains. So it's a little thicker, but it's just beautiful. So that's one of them. And then this is another one of the cards. And it's got all these beautiful layers. One of it, You Mean the World to Me, and the other one has, I put to a wonderful friend, man. And so I love them. They're so beautiful, and they were really easy to put together. And if you want the refill, that is still available. So just keep that in mind. And then here's the sentiments that we're going to be using today. So it's "You mean the world to me." It's got the bird stamp sets. There's 2 different ones. "Happy birthday." "I love you. Best dad ever. You're the greatest. Happy Father's Day." And "To a wonderful man." So they've got amazing fonts and lots of different, I mean, you can make it congratulations. You can make it, you're the greatest, Father's Day, best dad ever, happy birthday, I love you, just however you want to use it. There's just so many great sentiments with this stamp set. And we're going to use 3 different DSPs. I only have a piece of the 3rd one because I've used it all up. I had 3 packs and I've used it all up. So there's this one, which I just think is such a beautiful piece of artwork. And then this one is one of the hand-painted ones that the Stampin' Up! Artisans, the developer artists put together. So you can see there's some fabulous talent at Stampin' Up! So, okay, so the first card that we're going to make is with that really beautiful scenery. And it's just a little fun fold to use up the whole 6x6 piece of DSP. The only thing that you won't use is a little bit above the top, but you can see that there's enough room for you to make "You're the greatest," "Happy birthday," and then you still have room to write a little sentiment. So this is with the Secret Sky design, or the Secret Sky in color. Sorry, Secret Sea? Yes, Secret Sea. Cardstock. And then I've got the very vanilla envelope, and I just put a 3/4 inch strip on this side. So we'll put this together real quick. So I have a 3/8 inch piece of the Secret Sea, and then I'm going to need a full sheet, and then I have just a little extra that I'm putting on my envelope. So I have an extra one, so I'm cutting little strips so I can decorate my envelope as well. So what it is I'm using a 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece, and I've scored it at 2 1/8 and another at 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold it in half and use my bone folder, and then I'm going to fold it back again using my bone folder. Okay, so now with this ready to go, what I need is a 2-inch strip taken from here, and then the rest will get tucked under, and I can cut off the remaining portion for the other sentiment. So I'm just going to take this DSP and I'm going to cut 2 inches. And that will get applied to the front, and then the rest of it I'll apply just inside my card, and then I'll cut off the top. Okay. So this ends up having like a 1/4 inch difference, but it ends up being 1/8 of an inch on both sides of the DSP. So you can see what I mean. There's just a little bit of a difference. And then I'm going to glue this piece, and I'm putting the base of it and lining it up with the bottom of my card, but I'm bringing it over another little 1/8 of an inch so that there's some continuity with that little bit of a gap. Okay, so then we're just going to trim off the excess. I don't know about you, but my cutter doesn't always line up like I need it to, so rather than guessing if I got it the right dimension, it's better just to cut off the excess. I'm not going to need this piece, but I am saving this piece for my sentiment. Okay. So then you just use You Are the Greatest and the Secret C stamp set or ink. And I think the sky makes a great place for a sentiment. And I'm going to go over far enough that I can trim it at an angle. Okay. And then if I want to, I can add happy birthday to the inside. Now I tried adding the birds to this one, but I feel like this is too refined of an art piece, and I didn't like the look of it. So you can see here on this one, I had some of the birds kind of in the foreground because they're too big for up here. But I just felt like it, for this art piece, it's so refined. There's such fine lines. It's a little bit looser. So I didn't do that. Okay. And now I have my little piece of sentiment. So I'm just going to cut this off at an angle, and I'm keeping the same angle and just moving it down. And then I will glue it to this 3/8 inch scrap of Secret C cardstock. Once it's in place, and I can just kind of keep that same 1/8 inch. Actually, it's about 1/16. So, all right. So now I'm going to place it on this side, and I'm going to, because this is so dark, I'm going to use the black. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it about where I want it to be. And then I'm going to flip it over to make sure that none of my dimensionals cross over, because I want this to be able to open up easily and not accidentally stick. And there we go. And you can see there's no dimensional showing. And you can see that it just is such a nice, and it holds up so nicely on somebody's mantle or desk. My husband thinks these are the best. Now the embellishment that I'm using is the neutral adhesive back sequins, and I'm using the silver ones for this one. But you could use the gold, you could use whatever, because we have the very vanilla. I have all these scraps, I might as well use them. So let's close this up. And there we go. Isn't that easy? Such an easy card, and it's really beautiful. Okay, so let me just put this aside, and then we should have a strip. Oh, I need to cut a strip because I have this extra piece, and I'm just going to cut a 3/8 inch piece, or sorry, 3/4 inch. And then I'm going to add that to my envelope. So I've got a decorated envelope. And I'm going to line it up with the left-hand side of my envelope and down to the bottom. Give it a chance to adhere, and then just cut off the top. If you wanted to use the other side, you could. Let me just show you what it looks like. So the other side could easily be a great masculine card as well, but you would need to use black instead of the Secret C. So beautiful card, very easy. Okay, so that's the first one. Now the second one, we're going to be using the same design, but we're going to use this one instead. So you can see that, again, I've got the Very Vanilla, and then I've got the Mossy Meadow cardstock. So I've got my little extra piece here. I do have a little extra of this, but we'll go ahead and cut this piece down. And I've got my scrap of Mossy Meadow, and again, it's 3/8 inch wide. And this is my envelope, so I'll put that aside over here. All right, let's get the cutter. So I want this part to be 4 inches and this part, the 2 inches cut off. So I'm going to make sure I measure the 2 inches. And just as a reminder, I scored this at 2 1/8 and then 4 1/4 so that I can easily just fold it back. Super easy, fun fold. And that's about as creative as I get with fun fold. All right, so again, I'm going to take this all the way down to the bottom, but I'm going to center it between the two pieces so they end up being the same size on each side. And then same thing with this one. You can see we can't use the other side because it's florals, at least not for a masculine card. It would make a beautiful card otherwise. So just making sure everything lines up, and then you can just flip it over. I'm just using the cardstock as my guide to cut this little portion off. There we go. And so again, you can put whatever you want on the inside. You can put whatever sentiment you want on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and make this a Happy Father's Day. This time I'm using pecan pie for my ink. And because I've already got this cut here, I can go ahead and line up as far over as I want to. And then I'm also going to add the birds to this one because this is a lot looser. I think it looks great. So I just want my birds to line up in direction. And then I've got the other little birds here. And then now I just will glue this to here. We're having a very stormy night. So let me just make sure I cut this other side the same angle. So there's lots of thunder. You may be hearing that. It almost sounds like people are taking their trash cans in, but I know better. So we're very happy about the rain. I love it because it's watering my flowers. It's also going to cool the day off. It was 91 here today. Can you believe it? Here in Minnesota, 91 on June 2nd. Crazy. It's not the first 90 plus degree day that we've had since the spring has started. And technically, just a reminder, we're still in spring. Okay, so again, I am going to take a look about where I want this, and then I'll put my dimensionals where they won't overhang. And then I can just flip it over. Whoops, it moved just a smidge. And then we have the embellishments. And there was a stray one there, so let's get the rest of them. And I'm not finding my embellishments. There they are. I'm using the copper this time, just because I like it with the colors, with the peach. I'll just have this here, and then when it's all open or closed, it's really beautiful. Okay, so we're done with these embellishments. So now we're going to add this strip to the envelope. And I'm going to glue the envelope because I don't want glue over the top. Just making sure it stays. All right, so we're done with this card and envelope. And I just love these. They're so easy and they're really beautiful, and they sit up really nicely on their desk or mantle or wherever they're going to display them for a little bit. Okay, so my last card is a little more complicated, but it is the same concept. So it's a fun fold, but I've added more layers so that it covers the card, and when they open it up, again, it'll sit on the mantle or desk, but just a little different. Again, using Happy Father's Day, but this time I think I'm going to make this into You're the Greatest. There's also the sentiment, I love you, best dad ever. And there's also You Mean the World to Me, but it's a little bit too large for this piece that I have. Well, maybe not, actually. It almost fits. I think it would need to be just a little bit smaller. So what I did is I used two different layers, and this is, let me just show you the pieces. So again, we are using a very vanilla envelope, doing the same thing, 3/4 of an inch for the envelope strip. We're using these low profile dots in gold. I could have used the pretty in pink for this, but I think it's just a little too feminine, so for what I was trying to do. But I'm using the gold instead. So again, same card dimension, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 2 1/8 and then 4 1/4. And so let me just braze this. Okay, so I'm using this piece here, the sea. It's like a little harbor scene. And then I'm using this piece here that has a little bit of a mountain path. I'm using the back side of this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this. This is the cloud cover, and I'm just going to glue it to this piece right here. So I'm going to add the glue here, and this piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I want to make sure that these three sides are the same. And if you subscribe to my blog, I gave you a link in my description for this video. If you subscribe to my blog, I'll have all these dimensions in the blog. Okay, so I've put the Secret Sky piece down first, and then I'm going to put a, let's see, 3 inch by 5 1/4 piece of DSP, and the 3/4 of the DSP on top is what I'm using for my sentiment. So I'm going to center it again on my Secret Sky, and then I've got my 3" by 5" piece of my main piece, and I'm putting it on a 3 1/8" by 5 1/8" of the Secret Sky, Secret Sea. I'm not going to get this straight. What it was is somebody had it wrong at the very beginning, and they were displaying it on their website, and it got stuck in my brain. Okay, so this one, I am making sure that it's got the same width for the blue on these 3 sides, and then centered between the top and the bottom here. Okay. Now, I had all these leftover pieces in basic beige. If you recall, I had mentioned that I made 24 cards, and this is the centerpiece that was embossed and then die cut out with the gallery frames from the suite. So I just had a ton of these, and I just thought it added a really beautiful element to my card front. So I'm going to pop this up using dimensionals. And there's not any particular place, but it just over here to the right, so it kind of lets there be some of the frame. You can see this other photo has, this other piece of DSP has more of the boats. So you can see this is how it was cut in half. This is one side, this is the other half. So this allows you to use 2 sheets, or 1 sheet for 2 cards. And then of course I had 1 extra, and I was able to cut that. Okay, so I have a 3" by 3/4" piece of the Secret Sky, Secret Sea, and then I have a 3/4 by 3" piece of this canvas, and it's just a really beautiful, subtle look. Like it's just a painted canvas, just with looks like pecan pie and basic beige. Okay, so I'm going to put my sentiment on there, and let's see if we can get You Mean the World to Me to work. And I think it's just gonna fit. And then for this one, we're using Misty Moonlight. I could have used the Secret Sea, but this was one of my cards that I had at my open house this weekend. So just a really beautiful card, and it can be for anything. It doesn't have to be for Father's Day. I'm going to make this one into a birthday card. Okay, so just barely fits. And then I can put happy birthday, or I can put anything I want to. So happy Father's Day, whatever I want. I think I'm going to leave the inside. And then I just stagger these. These are exactly the same size, and I'm just staggering them just a little bit. So what I'm going to try to do is just achieve the same as this. So you can see this card has about a 1/16 of an inch, and then I'll pop it up and overlap on this. So I'll just add glue dots to this side. That layers over this. And then I'll add dimensionals on this side. There we go. And then I should have a little baggie. All right. Do something a little different this time. So beautiful card. And then the last thing is adding the strip to my envelope. And it's just more of, you can see it's just the piece that's next to there. And then just snip off the excess. And I've got another beautiful card for the men in my life. So this could also be for anybody, but all right. So here we are. And I hope you enjoyed the ideas that I gave you tonight. And I hope you have a great evening. If you're here in the Twin City area, be careful out there. It's got a lot of lightning and thunder, so stay safe. All right. If you're watching this later on YouTube, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also put some loves on my Facebook Live. It helps the algorithms, and I appreciate you supporting my business. If you're looking to shop for sweet products like this beautiful DSP, remember, for every one that you purchase, you get 50% off your second one. So great savings for the month of June. All right, I'll talk to you later.